anniversary, neighbors.
Cafe. Happy 5th anniversary, neighbors. Good
Just want to
luck.
say happy 5th anniversary, neighbors.
Here to
And
say happy 5th anniversary to neighbors.
Each one, teach one. Mother and father and daughter and son. We gonna learn and plus have fun. Yes, indeed, the time has come. Reach out to your neighbor, do something nice, return the favor. It's all good, we all get along. Clap your hands and sing along to the song. Young people, you ain't gotta do wrong. We can all do right, come on.
So I'm gonna start with the rook, and the reason I start with the rook is because it's one of the simple pieces, and I like to break them down one piece at a time. The rook moves vertically, which is up and down, and horizontally, which is side to side, okay? He can go one space at a time, or he can go all the way across the board, okay? And it goes the same way vertically. So that is the rook.
Rook moves horizontal and vertically, forward and backwards, if you please. It must be an empty square in between to capture the enemy. Capture the enemy. Capture the enemy. Capture the enemy. 1 king, 1 queen, 2 bishops, 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 players, 8 pawns, 1 board.
The rook, the king's border guard protection, represented in real life by support groups and organizations that provide a firm foundation of support.
Hi, my name is Chloe Spalakos, and I'm an adult counselor at the Bronx Family Justice Center, Sanctuary for Families. Okay, so in terms of stats, when we think about adults in this population, approximately 42 million women are a victim of domestic violence and 32 million men. That brings it down to 1 in 3 women will be a victim of domestic violence in their lifetime, and 1 in 4 men will be a victim of domestic violence in their lifetime. We do know that there is underreporting, so this is documenting the number of people that we do know that have been victims.
Hi, my name is Melanie Reed. I'm the team program coordinator, also a social worker at Sanctuary for Families. I work in the Manhattan office, right? Just the existence of a teens, if you think of it. So here I am, and I'm sure many of you think back to when you were a teen. What were some of the issues that you were struggling with? Like, who am I? Where do I fit in? You know, you're going to school every day, you're dealing with peer pressure, you're dealing with all these different things coming at you. So here you are now, you're in a relationship. And let's just say, I mean, a lot of the teens that I've seen at Sanctuary for Families, they're victims of domestic violence. So you think of it now, you're growing up, right? And you're in a domestic violent environment, right? You're not what's considered a healthy relationship, you're unaware of, right? You're unaware. So everything that you're exposed to, this is considered normal. So here I am now interacting with another teen, right? And I'm in this relationship with this other teen, and this relationship resembles my relationship or the relationship that I've seen with my parents, right? Or, you know, and anyone around me that's in this environment, right? So you're sitting there, you're trying to figure out what exactly is in my relationship supposed to look like. Unfortunately, the model that you have is an unhealthy one, so you're not going to see it as such, and you're not going to correct it. And a lot of the things that Chloe and Sophia mentioned in reference to what makes up an unhealthy relationship, you see the same elements with teens, right? But remember the stage that you're at. You're not very mindful of certain things, right? You're not exposed to different things. So the thing that you would look at, or a teen would identify, like some of the issues I'm having dealing with teens right now is domestic violence for them have a different, like it doesn't relate to what they're experiencing. Right. Like they see domestic violence as what happens at home, right? It's not what's happening to me or what happens to adults. It's not what's happening to my peers, right?
Right. They can't see the pattern. They can't extrapolate from the patterns of coercive behavior they may be seeing at home to what's happening in their relationship because they have a different barometer of what they feel comfortable with. Teens, among their peers, for example, they have no problem among their friends sharing passwords. They share passwords with each other, and so then when a partner asks for the password for their Facebook or their Twitter or their Instagram,
The light doesn't go off.
it doesn't.
There's no like,
they
this
don't.
is not right.
They don't realize that this is controlling behavior. Because their best friend and their sister also has their password, and they go on each other's Instagram accounts all the time. So why not?
Right. So some of the struggles that we face working with teens coming from a domestic violence background is helping them to identify what exactly the elements of an unhealthy relationship is. And if you're thinking about that, it's a very interesting exchange because you're actually having to teach something that they were not exposed to. So one of the things that we use as a teaching tool is the teen power and control wheel, right? So on the outside of this wheel, and I would love to like definitely plug some of my colleagues here. Anna and I, Anna also works for the Family Justice Center, and we were trying to figure out, well, how do we explain this to teens? How do we allow teens to really connect or give them an opportunity to really connect to what this power and control wheel is? If you look at it, it's pretty complicated, right? So we decided that it makes sense to look at the outside, right, as the outside of the fruit. Like if I said to a teen, describe to me what an orange looks like, right? They'll be like, well, it's orange, it's hard up, it's hard outside, it has a specific smell, whatever. So then describe to me what an abusive relationship looks like, right? Oh, there's hitting, there's yelling, so the violence, right? That's on the outside of the wheel, right? So that's easy. You can easily reach out and use that as a definition of what an unhealthy relationship is. So we then decided to go a little deeper. Well, an orange is not just orange. There are other layers to that, right? So this is where the different layers or elements of domestic violence or teen dating violence comes in, right? So you're able to say, well, when I peel it back, this is what I'm seeing. I will see peer pressure. I will see anger and emotional abuse. I will see using of social status. In other words, you're not going to be cool. You're not going to be, so you're using the peers to manipulate how this person behaves. I will see intimidation. I will see denying, blame, and minimizing of that and things of that nature. I will see threats. I will see sexual coercion. I will see isolation, exclusion. What exactly does that mean when I see it? What does isolation look like? Do I use language to do that? How do I pull you away from your friends? Do I stop you from going out with your family members? What exactly? So we're breaking it down, we're peeling it back so that they can identify what's considered unhealthy and what exactly the components of a power and control dynamic looks like. So that's one of the things that we use to send the point home so that they're able to identify what's healthy versus unhealthy. And once you identify that, then you can talk about how to create a healthy exchange. Right there. So if you're a teen and you are able, and you're in school, right, and you're socializing with your peers, and you're in a relationship that it's not going well, right? Let's say your partner is stalking you, or you guys are having public displays of disagreements in this space where you're coming every single day for 6 to 8 hours. How do you manage that situation as a team? And that's the part that's very difficult for this population, because the only thing in place at schools right now is called mediation, right? Conflict mediation. So you, as a teen, would go to your counselor and say, this is a situation that's occurring right now. My partner is yelling at me, hitting me, stalking me. What course of action do I have? Well, they'll pull you both in to the space and you'll talk about the situation. Now, if I'm fearful of my partner, this is not the space that I would want to be in. So I'm hoping as time goes on and this becomes more of a public discussion, there'll be different approaches, because I've seen teens actually pushed out of school. out of school because of these situations. So now they're part of the out of school youth population, and your options then become very limited, right? Especially if and usually if you're going to a certain school, you have the same friends in common. So how do you rebuild your life after you had this experience? And at Sanctuary for Families, we're actually having those discussions now. We're actually giving an avenue or a path for teens to actually identify what's unhealthy, discuss ways that you can manage that through counseling, support systems we're trying to put in place. So that's where we are in terms of.
Oh, yes, because see, it's been thinking all this time, women think that it's a man's game, and it's not a man's game. The king has no gender. It could be a he or it could be a she. That's why we are born with a brain. We just got, the only difference is a gender. The rest is just a mental situation. And it's none of the stuff that some people say, oh, the man is smart. No, not such thing. I've seen very smart women, but they haven't got the credit for it. And I have seen very smart men that, well, we got to change that. It's an equality here.
I'm good. I'm good. Services, and the legal services started breaking down even more. They need matrimonial law. They need family court proceedings. Then they need for our immigrant population, they need to see if there's any kind of legal recourse for to regulate their status in this country. Then Sanctuary started expanding even more. As I said, in 1985, we were also one of the first agencies, and I think one of the very few, to address the needs of children, because at the beginning of the domestic violence movement, there was basically a lot of focus on just the person who was a victim, but now seeing that the children who witnessed domestic violence were beginning to, even after an abusive relationship, the adult left and everything, they were repeating the pattern, everything from younger children and either becoming victims of bullying or bullies themselves, or the teens entering into dating violent relationship, as Melanie said, because that's what they saw as what a relationship looks like. So we had to open up into services for children and teens.
It's definitely different, especially dealing with someone who is coming from a violent environment. Like our modalities definitely focus on trauma-based therapy and speaking to how to address that. And with the teens, it's the exchange that I've experienced at Sanctuary. It's definitely, there's a lot of psychoeducation that's going on, because you want the teen to be able to understand why they're feeling what they're feeling, and understand that this is a product of, the way you're feeling is a product of your environment, right? So the whole idea of being at this stage, that comes with obstacles and challenges in itself. We were all teens here, we understand what that meant, right? Then on top of that, here is this trauma, and how does it affect you now that you are transitioning or getting older, and how to have healthy relationship while you're transitioning, and addressing the emotions that you're feeling, right? That's from your past, and maybe you're bringing some of that over here. Like it's not even just about intimate relationship, meaning a relationship on that level. It's also relationships with your peers, and the bullying comes into play depending on how you're used to interacting with each other. So it's the counseling that happens at Sanctuary, and I've worked in some different places. It's definitely very complex, and like Sophia said, working with children in this environment, your approach, you have to come from different levels in order to make a very powerful impact.
Well, I would say, at least in the adult program as well, if you are a teen, right, and you never sought out or got help or got counseling, well, these bad habits or ingrained patterns, right, are still going to be with you in adolescence and then adulthood and onward. And so the point in which we see an adult in the program, we're still doing the same thing. And it is an eclectic approach, and a lot of it is psychoeducational, but depending on the modalities that you use, they're going to be tailored to the individual and their needs. And if a person is having triggers and they're being triggered by something, and they're having either a panic attack or they're getting very angry, and they really don't have a good grasp as to why they're getting angry, or how to control their anger, or how to control their sadness or their sense of panic. It really depends on the type of abuse that someone has experienced, and we tailor it to in understanding what is an abusive or abusive relationship, an unhealthy relationship, a domestically violent relationship. We frequently want to look into the behavior of one partner to the other. And in healthy relationships, we don't have controlling behavior. We don't have isolating behavior. But in abusive relationships, we have one person who primarily seeks to control and instill power over the victim or their other partner. And we do know that in terms of domestic violence, it can affect all races, all ages, all people from all different backgrounds, all walks of life. So some of the warning signs of abuse are coercive behavior, threatening someone, checking their phone constantly, isolating them from their friends and family, and really putting them in a place where it makes it difficult to reach out for help. Lowering their self-esteem by talking down on them, and verbally and psychologically making them feel that they are not just alone, but belittled. And it can be really scary. And of course, we have the physical abuse that exists in domestically violent relationships, and thinking about the safety around all of these different experiences in terms of abuse, and really safeguarding someone, getting them out of that situation.
This is for adult victims of domestic parents who are partners and parents, parents of abusive partners. This, when we're talking back to teen dating violence, we're talking a whole different set of circumstances, For example, prior to 2008, with the passage of Fair Access to Family Court Act, we teen dating violence victims and other domestic violence victims could not access family court for orders of protection. Prior to 2008, you could only access family court for an order of protection if you were married, formerly married, or had a child in common. This basically throws out teen dating violence victims, LGBT victims who could not be legally married to each other, It throws out pregnant women, pregnant victims of domestic violence, because the child in common was not a child yet. They didn't count in utero, and I believe they also throws out basically victims of domestic violence who were not married, who were just dating, or who were so Fair Access actually eliminated a lot of these barriers to things, but then it is still a very complicated matter to have a teen dating. For example, domestic violence shelters, most of them are almost all 18 and up.
That's the struggle.
But today, I am here to discuss domestic violence. And that's a really huge topic. So I'm just going to touch on some things. I can't cover all things. So I want to say that domestic violence comes in various forms. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be emotional. It could be verbal, right? Like someone putting you down all the time, or putting you down often, making you feel less, like your feelings and your thoughts don't matter. And of course, we know that we're more familiar with the physical aspect of domestic violence. someone putting their hands on you, you know, kicking you, you know, those sort of things. And I also like to say that it happens to men and women, but we're more, you know, familiar with women. More women are abused than men, or more women report it than men do. Okay, so, and we know that children are abused and the elderly are abused. So we're going to just talk around that a bit. What I like to say that no matter what you're going through, God is available to you. He's always with you. He sees it. He knows all about it, and he's here to help you. Okay, so one of the things that I like to, okay, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Here's the number: 800-799-7233. That's 800-799-7233. You can call them at any time, the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and they will guide you to what steps you can take, how you can be safe, keep your children safe, and where you can go. Okay? And I would like to say, keep going till you get what you need. You know, maybe you already ended up, maybe you left and you had to go back, you know, but you can go again. And you keep going till you get what you need. I believe in struggling well. We know that this life is a struggle. So our purpose don't struggle to do bad. All right? I struggle to do well, to live better. And that's what I encourage you to do today.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Víctor Mairena, soy un maestro profesional de ajedrez. Estoy aquí para explicarles de que estas piezas que ustedes ven aquí los ayuda en muchas clases de situaciones, en pensar mejor, en cómo manejar sus finanzas, cómo manejar su manera de pensar. Lo único que tiene que aprender es cómo se mueve y cuáles son las piezas. Por ejemplo, estas piezas pequeñitas aquí se llaman los peones. Los peones tienen la opción de una o dos, cualquiera de los 8 peones. Si él decide moverse 2 y él decide moverse 2, él no puede capturar. Si este se mueve para acá, él lo puede capturar o él lo puede capturar. Solo se mueve en diagonal. Ok. Ahora, después de los peones viene la torre. La torre no se puede mover aquí porque el peón lo está bloqueando. Si este se mueve 1, 2, la torre se puede mover. Se mueve vertical y horizontal. Entonces él se puede mover para acá y después se puede mover para allá cuando le toque su turno. ¿Ok? Esa es la torre. Este es el caballo. El caballo se mueve, es el único que puede brincar. Y él se mueve en una forma de L. ¿Sí? ¿Lo ven? No cuenta aquí. 1, 2 y 3. 1, 2 y 3. Entonces de aquí el caballo puede ir a cualquiera de estos cuadrantes. El alfil, que en inglés le dicen bishop, él solo puede salir si le abren la puerta y se mueve diagonal. Este color diagonal es oscuro. Este color diagonal es blanco. Entonces tenemos dos clases de diagonales. Tenemos la diagonal clara y la diagonal oscura. La reina es la pieza más poderosa del juego, que es la reina. La reina se mueve vertical, horizontal y diagonal. Pero mucha gente cree, especialmente las mujeres, que ellas son las reinas. No, están equivocadas. Ellas son el rey. Porque el rey, él puede ser femenino o masculino. Es la pieza más importante del juego. Y él se mueve una casilla a la vez por cualquier lado. Entonces, el que ha creído que han sido, que la mujer es la reina, están equivocados. Son el rey, hombre o mujer. ¿Ok? Y la opción del juego de ajedrez es capturar, aquí esto está malo, porque el rey va en el lado oscuro, claro, capturar el rey. Usted no puede sacar el rey del tablero. Al final del juego, los dos reyes se quedan, pero nunca se ponen dos reyes juntos. Porque hay que tener respeto de espacio.
Form of domestic violence that is often overlooked is sexual violence. We see sexual abuse in adult relationships, and unfortunately we also see it in teen dating violence. Partners who are abusive are often coercing their partners into sexual encounters that those partners do not want and do not feel comfortable with. And that's one of the types of violence that is frequently very underreported because of a sense of shame and embarrassment, and also in many cases, as we mentioned, a sense that this was something that the abuser had the right to do. And that is something that we encounter.
Hi, I'm Julie Hyman. I own Julie Hyman PC, a firm specializing in matrimonial, trials, and appellate work. I represent people going through acrimonious divorces as well as parents of out-of-wedlock children that have custody, visitation, as well as order of protection issues and support issues in the family court system. One of the things that many times happens in a lot of my cases is a parent is concerned for their safety. There's concern that there's going to be a divorce, there's stuff that's going on back and forth between the parties, there may be pushing or shoving, there may be harassment, or whatever the level might be, and I have a client comes to me and says, you know, I am concerned for my safety and I don't know what to do. And what I have always recommended to them is that if there is an incident that rises in their gut to the need for an order of protection, that they should, if they're actually the incidents taking place, that they should call the police and file an incident report, or if they haven't called the police and the incident has gone down, to go and make a police report to document the incident and then to go to the family court.
Each one, teach one. Mother and father and daughter and son. We gonna learn and plus have fun. Yes indeed, the time has come. Reach out to your neighbor, do something nice, return the favor. It's all good, we all get along. Clap your hands and sing along to the song. Young people, you ain't gotta do wrong. We can all do right, come on.